Pharma sector has been in focus. In fact, what was interesting is over the weekend, you did hear of a lot of US FDA approvals that were happening at plants of Dr. Reddy's, Aurobindo Pharma, Lupin, all of them, and Zydus, if I'm not mistaken. Some action brewing. The Trump commentary has been absolutely confusing as well, whether tariffs will be coming in, will not be coming in. If they come in, he's been speaking about 200%. Lots of chatter there. The sector continues to remain in focus from here on. We have Amit Varma, managing partner at Quadria Capital, joining in. Amit, welcome to the show and a pleasure to speak to you as always on NDTV Profit. My first
Good morning.
question.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
My first question coming to you is the way the dynamics of healthcare and pharmaceutical as an industry are panning out. There is some bit of skepticism or cautiousness that is coming in. What if Trump comes in with tariffs right now? And that's the reason why you're not seeing any major moves coming in from investment perspective as well, from a retailer's point of view. You tracking the sector so closely with investments coming into healthcare and pharma, at this juncture, what is your view from here on?
So our view is pretty simple and been very consistent. Let me focus on the positive changes, at least in the overall pharma sector, and then I'll come back and address the tariff situation. I think from our perspective that there has been a lot of buzz around innovation-driven models. So Indian companies are investing more heavily now into new drug development, complex generics, and more importantly, in specialty drugs. I think there is a phenomenal growth that we're also seeing in biologics and in biosimilars. And lastly, there's an adoption increasingly in our pharma sector about adopting cutting edge therapy. So all of this are good indications of how things are moving forward. Please take into account also the digital transformation strategies that most companies that you have mentioned that are also putting into play. And there is now widespread digitalization that we are using in manufacturing, supply chains, and marketing. So, all in all, it augurs well for the growth of this sector. There's also been government led policies which are helping pharma, which ranges from PLIs in boosting manufacturing, especially in the API sector, the government policy of Make in India. That is providing that impetus. And then, as India remains a global leader when it comes to exports to in generic drugs and vaccines, we are looking at diversifying away from the US into the rest of the world. So, all in all, we still continue to stay very bullish on what's happening in pharma. So, and we believe that there is a positive outlook regardless of this short term tariff sword hanging over our head. Now, obviously, if the tariffs were to come into play the way they have been suggested, and it's a very temperamental and mercurial decision, I think it augurs well for Indian pharma to use this as an opportunity to do everything that I mentioned in above, and also the diversification and risk stratification away from the US. Having said that, if we come up with these kind of tariff threats that we are discussing, it's going to cause massive disruption across the supply chain, not just for us, the guys who are selling it, but also for the folks who are buying in the US. And I do believe that's going to run down to a political decision of who's going to hurt more. There may be some short term pain for everybody, but all in all, I am also pretty confident that there are serious conversations taking place in the background so that it does not come to creating or causing harakiri across the ecosystem.
Absolutely, serious conversations going on. The other aspect is the India-China bilateral meeting that has already happened right now. The supply chain dependencies that India has on China for key starting materials. Do you think that is now probably you have to leave that behind, and there could be some positives that could be emerging? And if so, would you be a buyer of companies which still have dependency on China?
So, India, China, the only way to describe it is cautious optimism. There's a lot of background chatter that takes place, which is beyond our control. Having said that, I still continue to advocate for Indian pharma to get away from the dependency of the APIs. That's not going to happen in the short term. It will take place in the medium to long term, and it behooves us to continue to move in that pathway. Clearly, there will be short term benefit across the ecosystem if the China India situation gets better.
Amit, in terms of preference for investing in specific segments of the pharma value chain, if you have to look at companies which are focused on API manufacturing, formulations, or CRAMS, or therapeutics, where would you put your bets out of these four in order?
We are very bullish on CDMOs, and we genuinely believe that CDMOs and CDMROs are the right way to go. I've been a strong proponent of specialized APIs. That would be our second bet for where things go. We do believe that while India continues to be a global leader in generic drugs, there is a rapidly expanding portfolio that we can build up in biologics, specialty APIs, and high value complex contract manufacturing. So, those will be the three areas that we continue to focus on.
Okay. Apart from this, your view when it comes to diagnostics and hospitals as well, because that has been a segment which you have been absolutely vocal about as well. Where does it stand currently?
Continue to be very bullish. We believe that hospitals and infrastructure will continue to grow by, in fact, by 2032, our internal report projects a $194 billion industry in infrastructure and diagnostics. So it continues to be an area of focus. But as you know, again, I've been talking about our focus on specialty health or single specialty healthcare, and that's where our money has been going into. But since you brought up the topic of the bullishness of the overall healthcare sector, I would break it into six segments that we are interested in. The first is health tech and digital, because we believe AI, telemedicine, mobile apps, digital tools will continue to do well. The second segment is hospitals and infrastructure. The third is pharma that we discussed. Fourth is diagnostics, and especially now with the change in the GST tariff structure, I think it's going to give a big impetus to the diagnostic structure. Health insurance is the fifth area because, again, with the GST impetus, we believe more and more opportunities will exist here. And finally, I think it's preventive medicine. I genuinely believe that there are going to be a lot of play now in the preventive wellness and health fitness systems.
Okay. My last question, Amit, coming to you is, you have been, I think, an investor in a company which is promoting digital technology, digital pharma also. If you have to look at digital healthcare, I think Health Quad is what I'm talking about. You're talking about digital health and technology coming in together. Taking this aspect into consideration, how scalable is this aspect of business? And are there any listed players who have been focusing on this aspect?
Very small segment right now, small revenue generating companies. Most of these companies are not EBITDA positive today,
Okay.
but there is a segue to EBITDA positivity over the next year or two. I do believe that health tech will become integrated as part of overall healthcare in the next 2 to 3 years. And that's the reason our Health Quad Fund is investing very heavily in the trends going forward.
So
So this
probably,
includes things like AI in radiology, AI in mental health, how to make fitness and performance better. More importantly, as I mentioned to you, preventive wellness is where AI and health tech will play a great role coming forward.
absolutely, AI and healthcare are a great combination to look at going ahead. But thank you, Amit, so much for joining us on the show.